Who does anybody want to comment anything about the week that's just been, or any thoughts about anything that's been happening over the last couple of weeks now? Any, are we
I don't
feeling?
know where that came to me. I'm just thinking.
I mentioned to you, Keren, I'm finding it a lot easier now with the water because I really struggle with doing 2 litres every day. But since doing the challenge, I'm just far more aware because I'm making myself aware, but it's getting easier. I'm finding I can actually sometimes finish quicker than I have in previous days.
And what's shifted for you? Have you put a plan together in place to drink more in some way?
Well, yes. Well, just with the bottles, I think I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, was making sure I had bottles at my desk, in front of the TV, beside the bed, etc. And that one about drinking the big glass of water in the morning, I haven't been doing that. I would sort of basically just get up, take a tablet in the morning, and that would be it. And then start once I sort of maybe went to Zumba or went to work. So now I've changed what I'm doing to make sure I drink more water.
Yeah, that awareness first thing in the morning, I think, can really have such a domino effect into your day. The minute you start drinking water, it makes you want to drink more. And so if you start that earlier in the day, then chances are you'll drink more through the day. Yeah, that's great. Mish, and do you feel any difference having, I mean, other than going to the bathroom more often, probably?
Yeah, there's that one. um, I do feel better in myself, actually. I think drinking a lot more water it's doing something anyway. The skin's a bit clearer and that sort of thing too. Yeah.
Has it changed anything mentally for you? Like the fact that you know that you're achieving that goal?
I've talked to other people about it. Just drink, 2 litres, and all of them have said couldn't possibly do it. And I said, well, you can do it, and you need to do it, and you should be doing it, and particularly if you exercise, you need to. And I also had a chat to my mum about it because mum drinks something like between 8 and 10 cups of tea a day, and she thinks that's enough fluid, but it's not the right fluid. So we made sure now she's got the glass of water and a drink bottle beside her bed. So just making sure that it's important.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I can hear the positivity in your voice about the success that you're having in achieving that goal. So if you carry that through, that's the start of one piece of the puzzle, and then we move on to the next piece once you've nailed that. So that's great. Yeah, well done. Rod, Kerry, any thoughts? Anything you want to share? No pressure.
No, actually, so I had one of those moments exercise-wise where it was actually I think it was on Saturday at Zumba, and glad you didn't notice. But it was one of those brings you to tears. Because I've done a lot of exercise in the years, I've done it through a very difficult marriage separation, and after that was a terrible situation. Exercise was something that I could throw my whole body into and my whole mind into, and still some of the things that helped me get through that time come into play. They're a little bit silly, but they're a good way to get anger out. Just thinking processes about how to approach an exercise. But one of the songs that we did, it's the one with the knees up, the one that we were talking about today, Keren, where everyone was doing it, where it gets faster and faster. It was in that where I had one of those moments of, look what my body can do. It was one of those mind-blowing moments that brings you to tears. And I've had a couple of those moments recently where if you push yourself hard enough, long enough, you get to this point of just being kind of ecstatic in this moment of complete physical exertion and exhaustion, but joy at the same time. It was very cool.
Pride. I just hear the pride in your voice and the pride of your ability and the pride of what you've achieved in your life. And yeah,
Yeah.
music and energy released through exercise just highlights everything. There's something in your
Yeah.
body. That's so
It's
awesome.
strengthening. It feels so. I feel like you've got to be at a certain level of fitness to get there, and it's worth pushing to get there. But it's a celebration of your body going. It's just complete overwhelm. So yes, I was tearing up in the knees up, going, look what I can do.
So
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and the other word that comes to mind is, well, I use it often, but that empowered feeling. You just, you've fully taken responsibility, and how empowering that is, in the journey of what you've achieved.
Mm. In the same moment, though, I am reminded I need to keep doing my Kegel exercises, which is I'm going to step on my app again.
And that's the other thing, is that it never ends. It's
Yeah.
a constant journey. There's no end to it. There's the flow, the movement, the morphing, but you can be elated in recognizing the journey that you've been on and what you've achieved. And also, I guess, the nervous excitement that there's still more to go. There's always more to go.
Mm. I think you can understand at those points that what competitive athletes get driven by, it's they just want more. It's addictive. It's pumping through your body.
And so the hardest part for most people is that they don't push hard enough for long enough to get that feeling, and they give up. And then they'll try again months later or years later, and they'll start, but then they won't hang in with it or push hard enough, and they'll give up. And it's this constant cycle that unfortunately most people don't get to that feeling. But that's the feeling that makes you want to keep going.
Better than drugs. Any drugs I've ever taken.
I wouldn't know, so I'll trust you on that.
I'm only talking to medical.
Right.
The one prescribed.
Yeah. So that's so awesome to hear that, Kerry. That's so great. Well done. Keep going.
I will.
Rod, are you feeling inspired by any of that?
Well, it's kind of hard to beat Carrie's story there, but I'm inspired.
Good.
I'm sure you'll
I
have
look
your
forward to my experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Michelle, as far as the water goes, I find that once I start, now that I'm starting to drink water earlier in the morning, my body knows water's available and doesn't go into shutdown and not want water. So yeah, I'm actually more thirsty, which it's counterintuitive. I'm more thirsty after drinking more water.
That's absolutely what happens.
Yeah.
It's that need you're able to keep going and having more. Because I'm definitely doing more than 2 litres now. Because when I send the note to say when I've completed the 2 litres, doesn't mean that you stop drinking water. It still continues.
Yeah.
You open the floodgates. Your body knows what you need, and then it wants more. Absolutely. That's why kicking off the morning with the glass is so important.
That's actually quite interesting, because I struggle to understand why people don't drink enough water, because I sit down plus a teapot next to me. I'm constantly drinking. So I feel sick if I don't, and get headaches if I don't. So it's interesting to think that people, although I grew up only drinking cordial because we didn't have water as a choice.
What's cordial?
Cordial is a sugary flavoring that you put in water and refrigerate, so you've got a nice sweet drink in the fridge.
Gotcha.
Probably not as bad as soft drink.
What do you call it, Rod? The syrup. Flavored
Is it
syrup?
syrup or a powder? There's lots of different powders to add.
No, it's not a powder. It's liquid.
I don't know.
It's called cordial, but as kids we called it cordial.
How do you spell it?
Cordial. Cordial.
I must call it something different there.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
not part of my world, so I can't tell you. I don't know.
You don't need to know about it. It's just sugar.
Karen, can you see that? I was going to show the picture of the cordial.
Hold on.
Oh,
Have you held it up?
Yep. But I'm
no,
You got to hold it.
you've got to shade.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Try now.
Let me just hang on a sec.
That's a nice cordial. We do have that with soft drink, with soda water.
No, I can't say I've ever seen anything like it.
Oh, just a colour. And they
That's the
do a
fancy
lemon one as well. Lime with soda's nice. Yeah, so just one. It's what I'm looking at is it's backwards. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no, it's perfect. It's flipped it around. Yeah.
Thank you.
Rod, is there anything else you want to share? Any thoughts? Anything else on your mind?
Oh, lots of things on my mind, but that's irrelevant. It's been a stressful week, and going back to the water, I was going to add that looking for changes. I'm not sure about physical stuff, but I'm also noticing a tendency to be more, I don't have the words for it, not necessarily emotional, but more emotive. So maybe my brain's working a little differently. Does that make sense?
What does that mean to you on this journey?
Ooh. An awakening would be the best way I could say it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right. That sounds positive.
It is. I can't say I'm dealing with it well, but it is.
I guess anything that comes into our life comes in for a reason. Work
Yes.
through it. Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes when I'm prepared to deal with it or work with it.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, you're always welcome to share your thoughts, you know that, and on the group chat or just message through. What I will share with you now, I hope you guys have a pen and paper ready. I just want to go through a couple of steps, some really, really important steps, practical steps that I'm going to fly through on this call now live, but you will be welcome to replay it at any point in time, and save the link as well privately so that you can come back to it at any point in time. And it will be a great process to help you understand why you're doing what you're doing and to stay on track with what you're doing as well. So the why is going to be the most important part of your journey to better health and fitness, and perhaps anything that you want to do in your life, if it's a new career, if it's a new hobby, to help you to stick with it. So I've just put together a couple of quick slides. Knowing your why is essential for goal setting. And I want you to take some time to really think about the specific reasons that you are on this path. And everybody's path is a little bit different. Something that I've spoken to all of you about in the past, I think everybody, is to go deeper. And I'm sure we've touched on it in previous calls, but not just to say, I want to lose weight, but why does that matter to you? Why is it important? And I want you to take some time to write down, first of all, what is your ultimate goal? And I'm going to fly through this on the call because I really don't want to take up too much time live right now. But the process begins with what your ultimate goal is. And it could be losing 10 kilos. It could be, to feel healthier, fitter, stronger. It could be to sleep better at night. It could be to fit into a dress. It could be absolutely anything. What is your ultimate goal? And if you can jot that down, perhaps you need to think about it, but maybe for now, whatever comes to mind. And I'd like you to list the 5 reasons, and you can list as many as you like, but definitely a minimum of 5 reasons as to why that goal matters to you. Why is it important? Is it because it impacts your health in some way? Does it impact the people that you love in some way? Will it impact the people that you love in some way? Will it impact the way that you live? There are so many different reasons why you've chosen to reach to a particular goal. And I want you to take the time to list at least 5 reasons. For those of you on the call right now, is it easy for you to think of 5 reasons, or is that a real struggle?
I'm nearly there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a struggle for me.
Yeah. Have you got your ultimate goal, Rod? It could be really challenging because if you've never achieved it or never been there, then you don't know if you can actually be there. And so that probably plays with your head a little bit. But I do want you to just step out of your comfort zone and bite the bullet and just really think big. What is it that you would like to achieve in your life? Because we know that anything's possible, and I'm here to try and help you get the tools to actually get there.
No,
So
you're not trying, you are doing it.
have a little think about it. Again, you can play this back later, but I'm taking you through the steps now, and I'll talk you through those steps so that you have a better understanding when you want to come back to it. Hopefully you've all got at least 5 reasons why. And if you do struggle with 5, then I want you to reach out to me and let me know how you're feeling. And I'm pretty sure that talking through it, I'll be able to help you get there. Some of you might come up with 10, even 15 reasons very quickly. So that's the first step. The second step is really important. Why am I deserving of all those reasons that you just gave me? Because if you don't think that you're deserving of reaching those particular, subset of goals and the reasons why it matters to you, if you don't believe that you deserve it, you'll probably keep falling off the wagon because your self-love, self-belief, the reason for doing it is not deep enough. And I've only given you 3 spots here to answer. But again, I want you to go for gold. I want you to write as many reasons as you can. Why do you deserve to live the healthier life or lose the weight or whatever your goal was and those reasons behind the goal? Why do you deserve it? And again, I'm flying through this now, but I'd love you to come back to it and add more things. This is something that you can keep coming back to week after week and keep building on, because this is going to be a really important core self-reflection and self-respect and self-love process for you to start believing in yourself a little bit more so that you can continue on this journey toward reaching your goals. I want you to think about the time frame in a very simplistic way right now of reaching that end goal. And if the end goal is something that you've never achieved or never been to before, obviously it's going to take a lot longer to get there. So just from a very rough perspective, if it's losing 10 kilos, if it's, a particular weight loss or fat loss goal, giving yourself a really realistic time frame. If it's something like, self-love, self-care, generally, you also need to be really realistic. These sort of things are not going to change in a matter of weeks. They may take years. So again, I want you to be really realistic. You can't expect to have changes in your life, things that you've been carrying with yourself for many years. You can't expect that to change in a matter of months. So just thinking about that end goal, what would be a realistic time frame? And now what I want you to do is think about achieving that main goal, but we're going to break it up. And we're going to think about phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. There may be 20 phases, but right now I'd like you to think about how can you create a short-term action plan, a short-term plan that is going to get you just a little bit closer to that end goal. Now, if your end goal is losing 10 kilos, set phase 1 as losing 2 kilos or 3 kilos. What is that phase 1 for you? It probably will include some exercise to move you closer to the goal. It will probably include a nutritional change, and it could be one thing. For example, drinking more water. Perhaps it's eating more vegetables. 1 or 2 nutritional changes, but I want you to just think small and achievable. It's a short-term action plan. And how long is that going to take you? Is it a 1-month plan? Is it a 6-month plan? Perhaps that's required in order to reach that first phase goal to bring you closer to the end goal. If your main goal is going to take you 3 years, then phase 1 could very much be 6 months. Now, this is obviously very personal, and I want you to go through the first 3 phases and jot down what you're thinking off the top of your head. And again, you can come back to this later on and you can reassess it and change it up, and make the adjustments that you feel are necessary. But I think the main thing here is I want you to see the process. The process involves making small changes, being committed to those small changes for a period of time. You may set, 6 months for that first phase and realize that that wasn't long enough. So you would extend it later on. But as long as you've got the breakdown of that plan, it will be much easier for you to use those bite-sized chunks in order to get you closer to your goal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Something I just want to recap on from last week's Zoom, pretty much this exact slide. If we don't quantify exactly what the goal is, if we don't have that vision, if we don't figure out our motivation, why do we want it? Why does it matter? Why do we deserve it? Then it's just too easy to fall off. There's no structure to our movement forward, to create that momentum, to keep moving forward. So planning is key. And the question of the day that those of you who are watching now and playing back, those of you online, you'll get your 3 points straight away. But if you are watching, what I'd like you to send to me is actually what your short-term action plan is. What is that short-term goal that you're going to switch up? It might be exercise, it might be nutrition, it might be both. If you can handle both, that's brilliant. Maybe you can't, and that's okay. This is your personal action plan. Phase 1, what is that short-term goal that you're going to work towards? What is the time frame? I want you to send that through to me and let me know. So take your time to think about it. Those of you who are playing it back, you have until probably 4 p.m. on Thursday, depending. Hopefully I'll load up this video straight away. But if you can spend some time thinking about that phase 1 action plan and sending it through. Those of you online as well, you're welcome to send it through so I can have a look and we can have a bit of a dialogue about it. So remember to send that through privately to me, and let me know what your action plan is. So how did that resonate with those of you online? Do you have any thoughts or questions? Does it make sense to have those bite-sized plans in place? Is it something that you've ever thought about?
The big one for me that I hadn't really thought about was the deserving part. The other ones are all challenging too, but that last one is kind of the foundation, I think, for me.
Can you see how important it is to recognize that?
Yeah.
Without realizing your self-worth, how do we do anything for ourselves? We do the things that we do. We value, we prioritize the things we choose to do out of self-worth. If it's important to you and to your health, you'll put it first, or you'll prioritize it and you'll make it happen. And that won't happen if you're not thinking about yourself and caring about yourself. I'm not a psychologist, so for me, this is just stuff that I've learned through my experience, and by no means am I trying to, but hopefully that sort of resonates. That's through the experience that I've seen with all the successful clients that I've had in my life, that I've worked with for 23 years now. They've all flicked a switch when they've realized that they deserve to reach that goal. Until that point, it's a cycle, constant cycle.
A nice way to frame it might be because loving you, loving me, as in myself loving me, makes me more lovable.
Well, I'm not arguing the point, but it's just hard to embrace and do. And it's becoming more clear. There's lots of other information coming my way saying similar, if not the same stuff. And it's a challenge.
Constant work in progress. Constant.
Meditation's a good one for that.
Say again?
Meditation's a good one to help with that.
Can you explain a bit more about that, Kerry, like why that works and how that
Well, the meditation, you can use guided meditations. So there's loads available. I have an app, the Calm app, which I'm using carefully at the moment because I'm more experienced than when I began. But they have some nice messages. They talk about loving yourself, or about just focusing on the breath, or just taking time for you, or various things. You can focus on whatever you specifically need in the moment or at the given time. And by doing it and taking that time for yourself, you then become aware, okay, this is a good thing, it's good for my body, and I deserve this, and I want to do it more. And then you tend to spiral off into other things that you also deserve.
Thank you.
What would you say to people who are like, oh, meditation, it's like, I can't sit still for that long, and like, hippie, like, what would you say about that?
Well, so my partner Johnny does not do meditation, doesn't like it. He's a psychologist. He does tend to just chill. He tends to just be able to just relax. But if you're wanting to get the message and having an external voice tell you, you can go for a walk. You can listen to it while you're exercising, or when you're doing the dishes, or when you're sitting on the toilet for a bit. You can listen at any time. You don't have to sit still. I have taught myself to sit still. I have taught myself to slow my breathing. I can slow my heart rate. That's been very beneficial because at the time that I started my meditations, there were very stressful events going on in my life. So to be able to just breathe and slow my heart rate down was very important. And now I can slow it down and make things think I'm asleep, which is nice. And it's good for your body, and it's good for your mental well-being. So any voice that's positive that you can get in any way, shape or form, get it in.
I think a big thing with meditation, and my meditation is actually the gym or when I'm dancing. I actually shut off from everything around me, and it's a chance for me to actually just be in myself and be very self-focused. So there's different forms of self-meditation, I guess, but the important thing about what I think Kerry's referring to with regards to guided meditation, if you're someone who doesn't know how to I guess just be calm and still and love yourself and give yourself that time, the meditations from what
or even speak positively to yourself, or have your own internal voice that is actually sending you positive messages, or arguing with the voice in your head that's giving you the negative ones. You need this voice to say, hang on a minute, you just shush now, and quietening it down.
And starting with 1 minute or 2 minutes, literally 1 minute daily. Imagine 1 minute daily of telling yourself, I am loved, I love myself, or whatever it is that it's going to be. But imagine doing that, for 1 minute a day, and then working up to 5 minutes a day, and having that internal dialogue flipped slowly.
I have one really good benefit that's happened to me since getting back into the meditation. Normally, to get to sleep, I need to watch something on the iPad because my mind doesn't shut off by just lying down on the pillow. But I've been meditating at bedtime and waking up next to the iPad with 100% battery.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Anything else? Good.
I'm a bit that way with the Zumba. I think that's my go-to happy time. Everything about it is good because the music's good, and there's friendships there as well too. But it's my particular space, and that I have done the meditation cure when I used to do a lot of yoga, and that used to be, I think, one of the most important parts is at the end when you did, even if it was only 5 minutes, it wasn't a lot, but you really just shut down and made yourself think, it was great. And then, they'd say, relax each, part of your body. And I think it's incredibly beneficial. So what you were saying, Kerry, I totally agree with you. You've got the time to switch off, or like I said, even with us going to our classes, we're motivated to do it. It's a happy place to be, and you just get so much out, and you walk out feeling happy. When you've had a crap day, you're feeling better. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, anything that's going to just shift that internal dialogue, I think, is really important. Yeah. And exercise does that. Exercise, when you like what Kerry said, that feeling of that accomplishment, like that is an amazing driver to keep going. And yeah, so that's that form of self-love, that realization of what you're capable of. And I think meditation in the form of sitting and being aware of your body when they take you through different body parts and thinking, wow, I'm on my feet all day long. Look at what my little feet can do, or just those really important reminders of how capable we really are and what our bodies do for us. Yeah.
Thanks.
Welcome. Well, if there's nothing else that anybody wants to add, I will say sayonara. And this video will be available for playback. And those of you who are playing back, remember you have 24 hours to get back to me with your answer of the day. And I look forward to hearing from all of you and seeing you hopefully next week online again. Final week
Thanks,
coming
Keren.
up.
Already?
Thank you. Bye,
See
Ron.
you.
Bye, Karen.
Bye, Michelle.